What's going on when it comes to love? All right, let's see. Let's turn on the music real quick. Let's see what's on the radio. Confirmation. All right, Mary J. Blige could be significant. Real love. You could be in a search for real love. You could be experiencing real love. All right, let's find out. Let's see what messages Spirit has for us. Let's start with the deck of romantic. I think this is a romantic Doreen deck. All right, Holy Spirit, let us know, what messages do you have for the collective when it comes to love? All right, Holy Spirit, what messages? Okay, we've got love yourself first. All right, Spirit is wanting you to make sure that you take some time to love you. Okay, your self-respect makes you more romantically attractive. Okay, so if you're in search of love, make sure you first have that love within. 133 could be significant. All right, let's see what else is coming through. We got soulmate. All right, so some of you could be coming into contact with a soulmate. You may be with a soulmate currently. It says, yes, this is your soulmate. All right, and this is going to be a love that you resonate with. This is going to be a love that you can express your love with. All right, that you feel comfortable with. It says, go ahead and make the romantic gesture. 211 could be significant. So I feel like Spirit with this card is saying to not be afraid to put yourself out there, to not be afraid to say the first words, to, you know, make the first move, to take initiative, express yourself. And for those of you who are in search of love, remain optimistic. Stay optimistic about your love life. Positive thinking and faith will bring you romance so that you can receive the love that you're searching for. Stay high vibrational. Keep your mind in a good space. All right, let's see what else is coming through. We've got free yourself. And I picked this up in reverse. So I feel like for some of you, you're holding on to staying imprisoned. Okay, you're holding on to staying to yourself. All right, now I also feel like this is saying to come out of your shell. You know, some of you may have been in hermit mode or have been, you know, introverted. You know, you may be an introvert and you're not going to be who you're looking for by staying in the house. You know, you got to allow yourself to come out, to be seen, to free yourself, you know, spiritually from any baggage, mentally from any baggage, but also go and do things that are going to attract the person that you're looking for and be in the environment where, you know, you can connect, where that person can find you. It says it's time to take back control of your life. All right, let's see what else is coming through. Anything else? The number 4 could be significant. Yeah, Spirit confirms. Make the effort. All right, make the effort. Great love is worth taking the steps you're guided to take. So if this means going to the gym, going to the new coffee shop, if this means going to a random park, you know, wherever it is you feel like intuitively nudged to go try and check out, you know, you never know who you may run into. 4, 5, 6 may be significant. Confirmation, keep an open mind. All right, you never know. Your soulmate may differ from your usual type and expectations. So for those of you who, you know, may have a long list, I feel like Spirit is saying, stay true to yourself, stay true to your standards and your expectations, but also make sure that you keep an open mind to the fact that your love, your soulmate may be different than what it is that you expect. It may be somebody that catches you by surprise that you fall in love with. So be open to the universe providing you someone special in a different package. And then we've got playfulness underneath that. So I feel like Spirit is saying to make sure that you are having fun, that you're in a spirit of lightheartedness, because that's ultimately what's going to attract love in when you're in a childlike state, you know, where you're open to possibilities, when your heart is open, when your mind is open. 611 could be significant as well. And in the middle of the deck, we've got chemistry. And chemistry came out of reverse. So to me, this is giving me, to release yourself from any mental entrapments that you may be in, and tap into your own chemistry. You know, tap into the things that awaken your soul and that allow you to tap onto the frequency of love and all of those things that make you feel loved. All right, Holy Spirit, any other messages you may have for this collective? 771 could be significant. All right, Spirit is saying no more being guarded. Okay, if you want love to enter, make sure that you have your guards down enough to where someone can get in. You know, that you allow love to enter. You're open to receive. It says you are lonely because you're so aloof. Trust others and let them into your heart. Okay, so this must be the introverted collective. 544 could be significant. We've got excuses, and then we've got expectations. Okay, so Spirit is calling some people out. Spirit is calling some people to the front right now. All right, Spirit is saying, all right, stop making excuses and lighten up on your expectations, because ultimately I feel like these are the things that interfere with genuine, authentic love working, you know, because you may be making excuses for why you can't do something, or why you can't go somewhere, you know, why a certain person is not fitting your caliber, and your expectations may be interfering or blocking the very person that wants to come into your reality. So I feel like with these two, Spirit is just highlighting to make sure that you evaluate these things and make sure that your expectations are realistic, and that you don't have too many excuses that blocks the very person that wants to come into your life. We've got not committed. All right, so I feel like with this, Spirit wants you to make sure that you're committed to, you know, make sure that you're ready for it. Okay, we've got getting crumbs and hiding feelings. Getting crumbs. All right, and this is talking about being breadcrumb. This is talking about receiving the bare minimum. So some of you could be receiving the bare minimum from someone right now. There's somebody that's not really being honest and showing you who they truly are, wearing a mask, hiding their feelings. So be mindful of these energies. I feel like Spirit is just saying that sometimes getting breadcrumb is a result of not being yourself also. You know, you have to make sure that you're showing up, that you're being your true self in all your fullness, if you don't want somebody to try to, you know, play games with you. Like, don't play games unless you want somebody else to play games. That's what this is giving me. You know, if you're not showing your full self, you know, being fully honest, then you can't expect somebody to, you know, not breadcrumb you. I hope that makes sense. And for those of you who do, you know, don't get me wrong, who do show up fully and authentically, that doesn't mean that you won't still get breadcrumbs. I'm just saying that the universe responds to authenticity, and you're more likely to meet somebody that's authentic when you're being completely yourself and not being cold. Okay, 1122 could be significant for some of you. So some of you could be, you know, just having your heart on an icebox, all right, where you're not really open to love fully. You may want love. You may like the way having love feels. You know, of course, you may not want to be alone, but Spirit is saying that make sure that you aren't being cold when you put yourself out there. Take it as it resonates. Be approachable. It says you seem unapproachable because you are aloof. Try being more friendly. All right, and at the bottom of the deck, we have everyone leaves. Okay, so some of you could be interested in becoming married. Some of you could be getting married, wanting to renew your vows at this time. But with everyone leaves, this is a card that talks about loneliness and it talks about abandonment wounds. So some of you could also be healing traumas around abandonment or rejection. But this is also giving me to not be afraid to be rejected. You know, just because someone leaves you, it does not mean that you're not worthy of love or that the right person isn't going to show up, because rejection is God's protection. And let's see what's in the middle of the deck. We've got incomplete. All right, and with this, I feel like Spirit wants you to know, confirmation, that you are complete. All right, for those of you that may feel like, you know, you're missing something, that you have to put yourself into this, you know, perfect way of existing, you know, an unrealistic way of being instead of being who you are. Know that you already are enough as you are right now. You know, we have all got things to improve, you know, things that we can do to grow, to be better. But at the end of the day, I feel like this is Spirit saying that to attract wholeness, you have to know that you are whole already. I just flipped the card and I got untrue stories as well. And so I feel like I want to say, you know, with the incomplete, that is what the thought of incomplete comes about. It's from untrue stories, you know, the stories that we have made up in our head that are not real. So I feel like with this, Spirit is saying to light the story that aligns with the truth. Okay? And to extinguish anything that is not true. All right, so with that being said, I appreciate you listening. If you made it this far, let me know if this resonated, and I will catch you in the next one.